Well, it's been a really busy week here, and we're back to it. I know you guys were doing all the No Kings protests this past weekend, and everyone's still actually talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, some of the numbers are finally coming out. They're saying like around 7 million people nationwide, the biggest protests in American history.
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah. Michigan had a lot of protests. Obviously, Detroit, but also in some redder areas that I think people didn't expect. There was
Elma had a protest.
Yeah, places in the UP and stuff like that. People are mad. People are mad.
But I don't think like mad is maybe the right even word for it. Like people were going out there to show their support and love for this country, to show that they're pissed off, but they're also talking about healthcare, and they're talking about the shutdown, and they're talking about, no fascism, no kings. Like that was the general gist. Some great signs too.
And I thought what was interesting, I heard a few people talk about the fact that they'd seen people that they thought were Republicans there. Mm-hmm. So there was a little bit of that going on as well. So I think that you're right. Look, I didn't go, to be honest. Norris and our team were out there on the ground. I was in Antifa headquarters tweeting and in whatever else. So I was kind of, behind the curtain. But I did get a bit of that there was kind of interesting crowds out there. But you're in Detroit, Norris.
Yeah.
What was the vibe?
The vibe was suburban. It was mass suburban.
Dude, were you at the train station?
Yeah, we were at the train station. It was much younger than the first No Kings. The first No Kings was very much so populated by, middle-aged and older folks and people who clearly were not, I think, as familiar with protesting and stuff like that. But this one did skew a little bit younger. I think it did spur a lot more people to go out. I still think the No Kings protests have a diversity problem. I think they lack the cohesive messaging and like demand. Because like No Kings a cool slogan, but it's not like a demand.
Right.
It's a like, please don't do this thing. That's not a demand.
Well, so, I mean, what would you say is the main issue of why it's not so diverse, why it's so white?
I think mainly because there's two factors. Number one, I think black folks have just said, we told y'all what to do.
And you didn't listen.
So don't ask us for anything else.
They're pissed.
Right.
Yeah, like it's like pissed in a different way.
Yeah. Tired of propping everybody else up.
Exactly. Which then means like, people can't dance as well and the music is not as great. And
I take onus with that.
And, it's just a little bit less flavor, and then also the ICE situation
that's true.
has made it so a lot of the Latino community does not come out either.
Right.
And so I think it just ended up kind of lacking focus in terms of what the No Kings protests are supposed to represent, what they're supposed to achieve, as opposed to just an airing of grievances. And I think that's kind of where a lot of Latino people, African American people, and even those who are on the far left, like that's how they feel. They're like, we're not asking for anything at these protests, and therefore why are we protesting? The point is to, I remember when BLM popped off, like Black Lives Matter. This ask was very specific.
Yeah.
If you kill people unjustly and you are the police, you should go to jail.
Right.
And here are the things you need to do to make that happen. There kind of isn't that energy with the No Kings.
Right.
So
The
far.
accountability portion of it is kind of lacking.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that I found interesting about the whole thing, watching the responses, number one, did you see what Fox News were saying? They were talking about,
oh my God.
On the one hand, they're saying they're all just little old white ladies with purple hair. And the next thing they're saying, they're Marxists, communists.
Yeah, they're terrorists. So I was going through like the headlines, on Google, and it's like AP is very like who, what, where, when, why, how, like there's protests
good journalism
going around like the country right now. And then Fox News is like incited violence from all the terrorist organizations from Antifa coming out today, like to scare the shit out of you.
Which, by the way, there were 0 reported arrests of No Kings
and that's
protesters.
7 million people. And, I know in Livonia, that folks were saying, like, Livonia is Livonia, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
know Livonia has been like a sundown town. I grew up in Livonia. It's a very white place. And cops were coming out to like protect the protesters because there were quite a few rabble rousers in Livonia who were trying to incite things on the right. And the police were not having it.
No.
They were not having it.
No, police were actually arresting agitators.
Yes.
In Detroit, there was one gentleman in particular who's kind of like a known entity, a known.
Oh, that guy. He's always screaming
known
at everyone.
element who was screaming at
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
And like, there's a hilarious video of him like literally being like, he like falls over, his feet fly in the air. It's like a Looney Tunes.
But it was set
cartoon.
up. He was set up.
Yeah,
like
he
he'd
tried to
planned
say
that.
he was
Yeah,
shoved.
yeah, he was
Yeah.
trying to say that he was like beat up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he wasn't, but he ended up being detained and taken away.
But can you imagine if I said to you, 7 million Americans got together and not one mass shooting? That's
I
a fucking
know.
miracle.
It is in
It
America.
is. It is.
a miracle.
Let's not give
Think about
anybody
it.
any ideas.
But it just goes to show, like, when you come together in the spirit of love, in the spirit of solidarity, in the spirit of what this country should be, you don't have, the violent elements. You don't have these things that pop off. But one thing I do want to say before we move on is this was a record day for really important ballot petitions.
Yes.
It was at Antifa headquarters. I
Yes.
was also managing that portion of our business. And we had people around the state. I know like thousands and thousands. We're just actually going through them at the moment in terms of what was collected. But it was like, I won't be surprised if it was tens of thousands of signatures were actually collected around the state. It was fantastic. And I think the thing, if we think about it, anyone out there that attended these protests, if you think about how many people attended the rallies around the state, honestly, if all of those people just signed the ballot petitions, we could be home and hosed in terms of being able to, basically tax the rich
Yeah.
and invest in public school education and get money out of politics and ranked
I love
choice
what
voting.
you just said was like home and hosed.
Oh,
I haven't
I'm
heard that
sorry.
expression from you
That's-
yet.
oh.
Yeah.
Home and hosed? What
Yeah.
does that mean?
Oh, that means we'd be there. We'd
be
have it.
completed.
We'd
home
be
and
done.
Yeah,
hosed.
you'd be done.
Oh my
Hosed.
God.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
I'm still in my home country.
Yes.
yeah.
You're using the home,
Language.
the home
Hey,
nomenclature.
a couple of things I want to talk about before we move on.
Mm.
First of all, Governor Whitmer was a no-show.
She was. She was in New Jersey campaigning
For president?
No.
Oh.
There's a was it a Senate race?
No,
Out there?
it's for governor. I think
Oh,
it's
a governor's
governor,
race.
governor's
Governor's
race.
race.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, there's a couple of big governor races coming up, obviously.
Did she go to any no kings in New Jersey? Because I'm pretty sure they had them. All 50 states.
I don't think
all
so.
around the world.
I didn't
Yeah.
see if she
I
did.
mean,
Yeah.
you could still go to a no king. Okay, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
The other thing, can we please? I need to talk about what I found very, very, very interesting was Trump's little AI display.
know if interesting
Two
is-
things. The two reasons I recognized it being AI is there's no fucking way he could have fitted in that plane if it wasn't AI. And secondly, honestly, that was the most honest thing he's put out for forever.
Oh,
he's
the
shitting
AI
all over the country, and that's it. That's the best
AI
metaphor.
videos. The AI videos are honest. They're incredibly honest.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
They
is
put
that-
crowns on him and JD Vance.
Yeah. They're honestly, which by the way, does that make JD Vance like a prince, like his son?
Queen.
Does it
He's a
queen?
queen.
Yeah, is
Or,
it
I mean,
queen?
someone was also interpreting that as like passing the rulership over to JD Vance, like all the interpretation. I'm sure they're doing it specifically to own us and to own the libs and to make us upset. But it's like, but you're actually telegraphing
Your intent.
your intent
Yeah.
and what we're calling you. But then to fly the fighter jet around with shit inside of it and then to shit on crowds.
Well, that's because he's shitting on everybody.
He's
That's
shitting
exactly
on
what
everyone.
he's
It's
doing.
the
But also-
exact metaphor.
Can I just make a little joke because we're just to lighten the mood for a minute. But with all those fucking Big Macs in his colon, there is no way that shit would be coming
Nah,
out
that
of
was
him.
vegan
Like, it was a
poop.
joke. Yeah, it was vegan poop.
That was vegan
I
poop.
agree. But it was a distraction. It was just a
Yeah,
distraction,
it was
and
a
it
distraction.
distracted the fucking mainstream media.
Yeah.
They should be still talking about 7 million people estimated to come out against one man.
Yeah.
And
What is that called too? Is like the 3.5% of the population they come out and
Yeah.
protest.
I mean,
There's
I
like
don't
a
know. They
real
were talking
change.
about that in the last rally. I'm
Yeah.
not sure where that science
And this
comes
blew
from. but
all of
anyway.
that
There's
out.
yeah,
Water.
there's a alleged like or rubric or algorithm that says like if X amount of people actually start protesting that typically leaders start listening and they start kind of changing their tune because they see the tides changing.
Yeah.
But listen, they're changing the rules as we speak and
Right.
breaking them.
Thumbing their nose at the government.
Yeah.
Thumbing their nose at the Constitution and the rule of law.
Whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is a podcast.
This is a podcast, an entertainment podcast. I mean, speaking of which, the right had a lot of other responses as well. We know Representative Lisa McClain here in Michigan with her fake eyelashes. She speaks a lot of, like, she was speaking about the No Kings rallies, and she was basically calling it mobs, like hordes of mobs, and that the No Kings is why they're shutting the government down. So she was parroting all the talking points. Tell me this woman did not have something done. She's having
of
some
course.
work done.
But here's the point, right? It's the same thing that Mike Johnson said last week. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson said last week, and then he doubled down after the No Kings rally and said the same thing, that these were, dangerous ultra leftists, Antifa people. Like, at some point, America, and I'm gonna look right at y'all when I say this. At some point, America, you do have to just trust what the hell you see.
Yeah.
Which is, if nobody got arrested, there was no destruction of property, there were no fights, there were no mass deportations, there was no riot, there was no nothing. These got to be the worst terrorists on the face of the planet.
They are so bad at their job. I mean, I think that's also why where people are out there wearing crazy ass costumes, inflatable costumes, because they want to show how ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
Frogs and chickens.
Frogs
It was
and chickens.
fantastic.
I saw, I think you guys interviewed Spider-Man.
We
Yeah.
did
At
interview
some
Spider-Man, which I am almost sure he might have actually been Peter Parker.
He might have been. You couldn't see his face. It was a really good costume.
It was good costume. There
Yeah.
were some good costumes actually, and I think
Yeah.
the only guy that got arrested was a guy that was dressed as a penis, and I think he should have got a best
was-
on.
yeah.
He should have got best on ground for that. That was
he was
fucking
actually
fantastic.
dressed as a penis, and I don't even think he really got arrested. I think he just got detained, and they were like, "Dude, you can't
for?
wear like a penis costume."
They told him he couldn't be a penis?
My
Yeah.
God, but our president's a dick, so
that
that's
all?
the difference.
All makes sense.
Anyway,
Well, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Point of Disorder podcast. I'm Adrian.
I'm Julie.
and I'm Norris.
So we love to hear from you out there. We get a lot of interesting comments out in the internets. I actually want to read a really fantastic review that we got from a friend of my dad's over the weekend. So my dad sent this. Friend of the pod, Dan.
Word to Dan, thank you.
Yes, to Dan. I've listened to a couple of the Gorilla podcasts, but I get too torqued up. Make folks like me make sure the powder's dry and ready to rock and roll. So thanks, Dan. We really love the review. We do not condone political violence, and we definitely don't want to give Trump any reason to use the Insurrection Act. But so be like Dan, like, subscribe, comment, share with your parents' friends. So not just your parents, share with your parents' friends as well, wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget that we're on all the social medias, including YouTube, hi out there, where we'll be broadcasting our beautiful faces for this entire episode.
And on YouTube, we get a little bit of shit. So if you put some comments in the YouTube, that would be helpful.
Yes.
We want to counter some of that shit.
Yes, a lot
Yeah.
of evil people on YouTube.
Who knew
All
it?
right. So another week and yet another visible metaphor that reminds us of the moment of history that we're in. So not just shitting on the American people, but we're literally tearing down the East Wing of the White House.
The symbolism of this
So
is not lost upon, I think, most of America, right? Because, look, it was one thing to hear that he was going to build this massive addition onto the White House, but now different publications are coming out with renderings and the plans that they've discovered on how large the ballroom is allegedly going to be, larger than the White House itself.
yeah,
Really?
it's
Which-
insane.
Yeah, which is a complete metaphor for how Trump does things.
Gold
Is it like
everywhere.
a fucking convention center? Is that what we're putting together?
Essentially, yeah. It is essentially supposed to be a small convention center attached to the White House that is obviously going to be gilded and all this other stuff. And they finally started tearing parts of the East Wing down, and people were kind of really upset about it.
Because Trump originally said that they weren't going to touch the White House, that it was going to be kind of near it, but not on it.
It was going to be an addition.
It was going to be an addition. So I guess what's happened too is that they've started demolishing the East Wing this week, and now they're submitting the plans to the National Capital Planning Commission for review after the fact.
I'm a bit confused because I'm assuming it's some form of national monument, right? It's some sort of must have some historical significance.
It
It's
must
the White
have,
House.
it's the White House. In the first, I think Adams was one of the first presidents to live there, and he moved in like 1810.
So is that saying to all the people out there that live in some sort of in a home that has historical significance as being branded as historical, they could just start tearing shit down?
Not
as
here
well?
in Detroit. No.
Yeah, no, not here.
No, that's not how it
Trump.
works.
Just Trump, and this is another one of those things that he continues to behave in a manner that lets everybody else know that the law and the rules and the mores don't apply to him.
Yep.
You know, and so if you're really mad about this, which by the way, I don't care. The White House was built by slaves, but I understand the symbolism of tearing down the White House in the middle of a government shutdown when you said you wouldn't touch it, and also making it the ballroom larger than the White House.
And $250 million. This is $250 million plan. I want to point out that the current chair of the National Capital Planning Commission, who's this is the person who's in charge of these buildings, and they're the ones who give permission to this stuff, is William Schraff. He was appointed by President Trump, and he also serves as Trump's assistant. So, of course, there's someone who's been put into that place who's going to give the permission and nod up and down. Oh, of course. Whatever the fuck you want to do. So it's kind of a let them eat cake moment.
But also, haven't Republicans and conservatives in general been the people who have been don't touch the symbols, don't touch the monuments.
Yeah, I think
don't
that
touch
party's gone.
the stuff.
Those people are gone.
Well, it's clear.
Yeah, they
it's
don't
clear.
exist anymore.
Have we not forgotten that the GOP is the party of don't touch the Confederate monuments?
Yeah.
But
but
because it's about
only those.
culture and
That is
heritage.
so 2024, Norris.
But I'm just saying, in the sense of it just goes to show you that some of these people stand for literally nothing.
No, they don't stand for shit.
nothing.
On this point, I want everyone to grab a pen and just the next time that some Republican, you knock a door or you talk to your neighbor, or over Thanksgiving or over the holidays you're talking to your Republican or MAGA mates, the next time someone says, oh, well, I support the Republican Party because they're fiscally fucking responsible.
They're not.
Listen to these numbers. Write down these numbers. $1 billion is being spent refurbishing a jet given to him by Qatar. $250 million is being spent on the new White House ballroom, which you might be able to use, might be ready in time for your next wedding,
Hey,
Adrian,
listen,
perhaps.
nobody's getting married again over here, but I appreciate that.
But basically, he's shitting all over America while tearing down the White House, as we just said. $150 million being spent on his golf.
Oh my God.
$520 million being spent on sending National Guards to protect ICE from people in frog costumes. And to top it all off, we're just given $40 billion to Argentina to bail out a right-wing billionaire. So write down those numbers and remind them that is not fiscal responsibility. I am fiscally pissed off right now.
I'm going to throw in the other $150 million for Christy Noem's jet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit, I
Christy
forgot
Noem gets
about
her own
that.
jet
We
now.
forgot
my
about Christy
God.
Noem's
She
jet
gets her
too.
own
but
jet.
you know, it's. I'm glad you brought up the Argentina bailout, because this is all also coming under the veneer of the government shutdown and the farmers, right? These are these two things, and I know y'all heard me talk about the farmers last week, which I still don't really care that much, but it's important. Here's the thing. $20 billion is really how much we're talking about when it comes to the healthcare benefits. So we've doubled the number that we need to open the government back up and send it to Argentina.
Yep.
Make that make sense. Also, Argentina, one of the top world exporters of soybean and beef, is a direct competitor to American farmers. So not only is this money for our healthcare going to Argentina, but also the money for all these farmers who put them in the White House going to Argentina, which is only going to further put these people out of business.
And whilst you've got your pens out, people, I want you to quickly Google Rob Citrone and his connections to Becent and the investments into Argentina. He's a fucking billionaire, right-wing billionaire that's up Becent's ass, and he's got huge investments in Argentina, and literally part of this is to save his ass.
Yeah, but we can't
So
let Argentina go under.
We can't but also we can't. We're living in a country that can't even provide fucking healthcare to people,
Right. No.
and they're the sorts of dollars that
they're-
we're sending elsewhere.
We're all told we can't have nice things, but this is what's also happening. I also heard recently that Trump made some kind of comment that the DOJ owes him like $250 million
Yes.
in damages because of their investigations into him as well. So like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
That will come out of our purse. All
Right.
of that money
Yes.
comes out of
This is our tax-paying dollars. Yeah, absolutely. So go out there, talk to your MAGA relatives, and if they want to talk about that, here you go. Let me add up the fucking receipts for you.
Oh my
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you're not getting your food stamps this month either.
Yeah, by the way.
So get ready for that
So
too.
sorry. But we don't know what the unemployment records are right now, the unemployment rate is right now, because Trump fired that person a couple months ago because he didn't like what her numbers said.
Like,
Even-
make the y'all, like, for real, at what point do you just admit that you in a cult? And
because cult members don't admit they're in a cult until
but
the
I'm saying,
fucking
like,
building's on
but even
fire
the-
and they're dead.
But even like the cult adjacent people, right? Like even the people who are just like, oh, my dad's a Trumper, but he's still my dad. Like,
No.
no, shut up.
no,
Like,
like I'm not going to Christmas with you people this
that's
year.
what I'm saying. Like
I'm
at some point, we got to get the private investigator, we got to get the Netflix documentary team, and we got to pull you out of the cult.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
this is
need
what
to be
this is, because
reprogrammed.
all the stuff some of the people in this country have said that they've stood for 20, 30, 40 years, the complete opposite is happening, and you
Can't
still
even
there.
see it.
and you are
Still there.
literally turning yourself in knots to make sense of it.
Well, you know what's interesting too to me about Argentina and all of this is we were talking about this earlier. How Argentina was a safe haven for Nazis
Yes.
after World War II. So a lot of people like fled there so that they could avoid prosecution.
Yeah, the Nuremberg trials, yeah.
From all the Nuremberg trials. So another week, another bunch of leaked Nazi text messages. I know we talked about this last week. Like again, this party that is trying to cloak themselves in loving Jewish folks, right? Like. Truly, their anti-Semitism is showing. So, Paul Ingracia was nominated by Trump to lead the Office of Special Counsel. And just for all of y'all out there who don't know what the Office of Special Counsel is, it's an investigative and prosecutorial office that works to protect government employees and whistleblowers from retaliation for reporting wrongdoing. It's also responsible for enforcing the Hatch Act.
Yeah.
So this guy supposed to be like Trump's pick, and he was meant to go up and like go do the Senate hearings, but he's actually like withdrawn now. He's withdrawn because Politico, oh my God, like what would we do without Politico right now? Again, they reported on his text chat that showed him saying that MLK Jr. holiday should be tossed into the seventh circle of hell. He also described himself as having a Nazi streak, amongst other like really horrible racist epitaphs and like shit that he was saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He threw out some old, because he's an Italian guy. He's throwing out some old classic Italian racial slurs for black people. Said that like all holidays celebrating black people need to be eviscerated.
Oh yeah, he wanted Juneteenth gone. He wanted
Yeah.
Black History Month gone. He wanted Pride Month gone. He wanted
Yeah.
Women's History Month gone. Get rid of all of them.
But my thing is like I don't think about white people that much. So why do these types of people? What is the obsession with black people?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Because
Like,
they're
that's
just
the-
not cool, and they'll never be
But
cool.
maybe, but I don't understand. Like, okay, you got a day off work.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
From
Why,
MLK,
why
you
are you
got a
pissed?
day off work.
Why are you pissed? You know what? I'll take any public holiday. Honestly, I'm all
Juneteenth,
for it.
You
Yeah.
got
Get
a day off work.
Really don't care. Any opportunity to,
Whatever. Like, I don't understand it. But beyond that, the thing for somebody like me is I continue to see the veil lifted on at least this incarnation of the GOP.
It's the racism.
Right. And I ask, if you are a black person, a Latino person, a Jewish person, at what point do you say, all right, not my jam?
they're just
Like,
not that into you.
Yeah, it's not my jam. You can be a quote unquote conservative. That's a perfectly valid school of thought.
But is it because are they really conservative?
No, but I'm
Have
saying
a look at
if
what
you
they're
were,
doing.
I'm saying if you were a real conservatism is a perfectly valid school of thought in terms of, hey, let's not spend that much money. Let's hold on to our, traditions, whatever. That is, you are totally entitled to think that way. But the problem is American conservatism comes hand in hand with being
racism.
racist.
But
like that's the problem.
My challenge is that they're not even like traditionally conservative anymore. So
Right.
for any of those people that are, do consider themselves to be fiscally responsible or whatever the fuck they say,
Fiscally responsible, socially liberal.
that's right. Like this doesn't exist for you.
Right.
We just ran through the fucking numbers. These dudes are shitting all over us and spending money left, right, and center, which has no advantage for America or Americans whatsoever. So you've got
Exactly.
to be really honest about this and say you can't. Yeah, you might. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is they like the racism.
they do
You have to.
Yeah.
And as I said last week, they may not be full on into the racism, but it isn't going to offend
Well,
them.
it's not a deal breaker, but
Correct.
I'm specifically talking about those particular minorities. Like again, if you are a Jewish person and you're hearing Mike Johnson stand on stage and say all day long that the left and Antifa and all these people are anti-Semitic, and literally
Yeah.
the exact same people who work at the exact same office with the exact same personnel are literally calling themselves Nazis and telling people we should walk folks into the gas chamber. But you cool with that?
Yeah.
You cool with that?
Cognitive
Hey,
dissonance.
That guy that we were talking about just then,
Yes.
I did hear that his mother
Oh, no.
went to the office of Jamie Raskin and said, look, pleaded his case and said, look, he's not such a bad guy.
What?
Can you imagine that?
Dude, how old is this dude? And his mother's like going and doing his work for him. This
Yeah.
is probably why he is the way he is.
It's exactly the
Because
way
his mother like bailed him out of shit his entire life, and he never had to have any fucking accountability. But I think, like Norris, to your point about why are you so obsessed? Like
Yeah.
why are you so obsessed with me? Like
Yeah.
what? Like to what end?
Yeah,
Who
I don't get it.
cares?
I don't, because listen,
They want a white man holiday? Like what?
all
of
of
the
them,
other
all
ones
the other holidays.
are.
Y'all made Jesus himself white. So what are we saying? Like, okay, you already have a white man holiday.
You've got,
get-
you've got the Easter Bunny. You've
yeah,
got
you
Santa
you
Claus.
got okay. What do you call Independence Day? It wasn't Independence for me,
Right.
So there you go.
yeah.
You got a white man holiday. Memorial Day. That's a white man holiday for the most part. Most veterans for American history were white.
And
so
the black
there you go.
veterans that came home for World War II were denied their GI Bill.
There you go. So, like, come on, man. Like, if you know what? If you wanted to make a white man holiday, I'm pretty sure you could have made Abraham Lincoln's birthday a national holiday, and we could have all got
President's
that.
Day.
We
We
could have
have
all
fucking
had that day.
President's Day.
And most of them are white.
And
Yes,
all but one.
But you literally could have said, "All right, cool, Abraham Lincoln, his birthday is a national holiday," but you didn't want to do that because you didn't like Abraham Lincoln because he helped free slaves. So anyway,
I love it. I love it here. It's so great. I do.
But
Anyway, this guy's an asshole. Certain Republicans are turning on him as well, so he's withdrawn his nomination. So, if anything, like the permissive structure that the MAGA Republicans have been putting out there as you can go say whatever the fuck you want, like at least we're seeing some of the pushback on that. It's like, no, actually, you fucking can't.
well, it's because they're saying N words out loud.
Yes.
Like if they
right.
were
Go
even
be
hiding
quiet.
it.
Go be quiet about
Yeah,
that shit.
go
Stop
be
putting
quiet
it in
about
writing.
Yeah, like people can find that. But
Right.
Leave
anyway,
it in the locker room.
I want to know who's leaking all
Can I
this
bring
shit.
up my favorite story of the week?
Yes.
Please do.
So, if you are a listener from the Metro Detroit area, you are familiar with the founder of the Leaf and Bud marijuana shop, Mark Savaya. And Mark Savaya, you've seen the billboards,
Got
those
in
garish,
trouble for the
ugly,
billboards.
hideous billboards.
He had he bought all the billboards along 8 Mile Road.
Yes.
And just papered them all with leaf and bud, pun intended.
Yes, this man has a new job. He has a new job now. We want to guess what his new job is?
The head of weed.
No, he is not the head, which actually would have been a great pick for him.
That-
But
Right.
guess
that makes
what?
sense.
I
to
mean,
me.
if Trump really wanted to get people back on his side. I guess he would make pot legal for the whole
Yeah.
the whole country.
Yeah,
but-
we're done.
he the
If he
guy-
does that, we're cooked.
Yeah,
like
we're
he'll
cooked.
be
No.
president for life.
Is he the new gardener for the White House?
He is not. He is not the head of like the hydroponics, ethics committee. No, he will be special envoy to Iraq.
Well,
And like what connection does he have to Iraq?
I don't know outside the fact that he's Chaldean.
He's Chaldean, which is like Catholic Iraqis,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those folks,
Sectarian minority.
yeah, very much a minority. They all had to flee Iraq because of sectarian violence, like many years ago. And we have a large Chaldean population here in Michigan. It's just kind of random and weird, though.
Yeah, like he has no legislative experience, definitely no foreign policy experience. And now he will report directly to Trump and the Secretary of State.
Are they like asking him to live there? Like,
No,
what is-
as a special envoy, you don't have to live there.
you just
No.
what like?
I can tell you what you need to do.
Okay, tell me.
You need to go to your bank, get a bank check, write millions of dollars to DJT, and fucking send it to him. That's all you have
Oh,
to do.
see,
yeah,
This
so
is
basically
paid
just
play,
administration.
people. This is paid play.
paid into your,
Yeah.
your campaign, and I get a new job.
Yeah, because Savaya was a huge donor, one of Trump's biggest donors in the state of Michigan. Went to multiple events to help stump for Trump while in Michigan. He's been a vocal MAGA Trump guy. And so he's been rewarded with a
title.
basically an ambassadorship.
Yeah, but
But
like
a
he doesn't
special
have to
envoy
live there.
is like
No.
above ambassador.
So what the
Yeah.
fuck is he supposed to do then? Like,
no, anytime the Iraqis want anything, they call him.
oh, they just give Mark a call, and he goes, "Hey, can get you
Or
guys
anytime-
some pot."
Or bigger than that, anytime we want the Iraqis to do something, he's the guy that goes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, weird.
We're sending our best and brightest from Michigan.
Best and brightest.
Yeah. So,
Right?
I mean, listen.
Is this the new affirmative action? You just get out your checkbook.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it.
Yeah,
That's all it
absolutely.
is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Listen, the only thing that matters is how much money you make. That's how you get in. But
Okay.
I thought this story
Capitalism.
was hilarious because we're actually not issuing any new marijuana licenses in
Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah.
As
Also, they're
they-
taxing the shit out of it now.
which is they are being sued over that
Okay.
by the marijuana industry. So for all the weed shop owners out there, if you guys are looking to exit the weed industry,
Exactly.
just clearly pay off the administration, and you might be special envoy to Chile or whatever. I don't know.
Argentina.
Yeah, who knows? But anyway,
Okay, so that's what's been going on here with Mark here in Michigan. Our Senate candidates here in Michigan as well are just reporting their numbers now. So there's funding numbers that have started rolling in, and I know you guys did like a special
yeah,
Substack about
Norris
that.
did a deep dive
I
into
did.
the Michigan Senate financial at the end of the third quarter.
yeah. These are the Q3 numbers.
Yeah.
So just I treat it like sports. So
Bet MGM.
Haley Stevens is in the lead with $1.8 million that she raised over quarter three. And obviously, Stevens is one of the only two, or the only of the three major Democrats who has been accepting corporate PAC money. She's been supported by like Denise Illich of Little Caesars and people from BlackRock and DTE Energy and other big corporations. So the fact that she has a lead is not shocking.
Right.
The story here is actually how small her lead is because, Abdul El Sayed and Mallory McMurrow are only about $100,000 behind her, and they have sworn off corporate PAC donations altogether. The both of them.
Yeah, their money comes mostly from Michiganders.
Well, here's
Okay.
the thing.
Okay.
Is
They're-
that they
yeah.
both outraised Haley in Michigan, but in the case of Abdul and Haley, they actually got more donations from outside of Michigan than within Michigan. But Haley got more money from Massachusetts than Michigan.
Massachusetts. Why?
I'd have no clue.
Who's in Massachusetts?
I have no
that's
clue.
like, who's in Massachusetts that's like, hey, Haley, we need you to become the next U.S. Senator of Michigan.
Yeah, so she is not in great shape within the state of Michigan, which are kind of the only people that matter here. Obviously, they have all outraised Mike Rogers, the Republican front runner for this. But the interesting and cool thing I want to say that I think is very, very, very cool about this kind of stuff is that at some point, either Abdul or Mallory is going to have to make a decision. Haley Stevens is the front runner, regardless of how anybody feels about her. She's the front runner. She's the incumbent in terms of already in Congress, and she's going to be tough to beat. So do one of them drop out? This is what I want to ask y'all. Do one of them drop out before the primary, or do we see this go to distance and
Which is handing it to Haley,
which is
at the
basically
end of the day.
handing it to Haley
Yeah.
Stevens?
And you're talking about based on money.
Well, based on money and based on just kind of the positioning of each candidate, Haley
See-
Stevens is a very sort of moderate, middle of the road candidate.
I don't know if I see Haley as beating.
statewide.
It's a
It's
statewide.
statewide.
It's statewide.
It's a statewide race. Everyone in Southeast Michigan. I mean, I won't say everyone because people outside of our bubble have no fucking clue who any of these people are. So any of the times I talk to friends who do not work in politics, I went out with a friend a few weeks ago. We got dinner and drinks, and I mentioned their names. Completely blank faced at me. She's like, I have no idea who these
All
people
three.
are. And she lives in Oakland County. She lives there, and she's a voter. She's like, I don't know who they are. Average voter doesn't know who the fuck any of these people are. And that's kind of how it is. So like if you
But
look
this
at
is the primary. So
Yeah.
we're talking about the people
Right.
that come out for a primary and not the people that don't have give
True.
a fuck or care or know
No,
who these
true,
people are.
but
Exactly.
I'm going to say
This
like
is
in a
the inner
primary
sanctum.
in Kalamazoo, nobody knows who Haley Stevens is, who Mallory McMorrow is. Abdul they might recognize because he's someone who ran for a statewide office in the past.
And Abdul actually was the top earner in the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
So his message is clearly resonating with Michigan. But I get your point. I the way I see it is that I agree with you, Julie. I think the politicos and the people who are deeply entrenched, they ready to roll. They've
Yeah.
made their decision.
They have.
But does that then put Haley Stevens in the driver's seat because
which money because she's going to run more ads.
yeah, which way or which way do the progressives go, right?
I don't think progressives are going Haley Stevens.
Well, I know they're
No,
not
they're
going
not.
Haley,
No.
but like, do they go for Abdul enough to give him an edge?
Right.
Does Mallory and Abdul split that? What happens?
And-
This is going to be the hottest Senate
is.
seat in the country.
Yeah. So what I want to say is Mallory is very well liked
Yes.
and very well respected.
Her
She's
digital and
obviously
social game is on point, too.
It's very on point. She's a state senator. She had that viral moment, a couple of years ago or last year. I have no idea. Every day's a year for me, but and I know that a lot of the inside baseball, your traditional femmes for Dems kind of folks are very much in the if they've kind of like sort of gone, Haley's gone a little bit off, not quite. She's on the nose a little bit now for a lot of these people. But they're very much drifting towards Mallory because they know her. They've known her for a long time. There is that portion of it. So, and statewide, I have to say both Abdul and Mallory are doing a great job at
They are.
reaching out to people across the state. I mean, give them props. I mean, Haley always does, and she has a lot more name recognition outside of Southeast Michigan, quite honestly, and it's because she's a congresswoman.
And she's the incumbent.
She's
I don't know.
there. So I mean, I don't know.
I think it's anyone's game at this point.
But I think what the question you ask, Norris, is a really important question because it's right. You're right. I think that unfortunately we're going to be in a position where if all three of them run, then I think Abdul and Mallory, there's a good chance that there's going to be
They
split.
cancel each other out.
Yeah.
They cancel each other out.
Yeah.
So, but the last point I want to make on this before we move on is that all of them raised more money than Mike Rogers, which I want to try to read the tea leaves on that, which is this is like three strong pretty in the political circles, well-known candidates.
Yep.
Mike Rogers couldn't outraise any of them.
Nope, by hundreds of
currently.
thousands.
So the Democratic side has been split in three. Mike Rogers is basically sitting
By
there
himself.
by himself, and it's not as if he's not known.
Yeah.
He ran.
last
ran for this
year,
seat before.
he
Yeah,
literally
exactly.
ran last year against
Exactly.
Alyssa Slotkin.
So it's like he's well known. I think he's well respected in the Republican.
In the Republican
Oh,
circles.
yeah.
Wait, I was like, hold on.
Yeah, in Republican circles.
In Republican
Yeah.
circles, he is.
Yeah.
He's
Sure.
well respected.
Great,
I mean,
go back to Florida. Quit running.
But so, and that's another big thing. So when we get to the general for this, Senate seat, I mean, does the Democratic nominee just blow him out the water money wise? Because it seems like he can't raise the funds.
well, he's got a shit ton of cash on hand,
And he's got
that's
a-
the
yeah.
other part of it
Yeah,
as
he
well.
does.
But yeah,
So-
he's not spending any money.
not.
And
spender.
remember, he doesn't have a primary, so we're spending all this on our primary.
True that,
So
true that.
you got to think about it like, how much does he need to spend to win his primary?
Not that
Not
much.
much.
Next to
Not
nothing,
that much.
right?
Not that much.
So I think, trying to be pragmatic, I think that it's still a big challenge.
Yeah.
It's still a big bloody challenge.
Well, speaking about national races,
Oh no!
we got to go all the way to the East Coast.
back to Maine.
We
where
spoke about
were-
this
we were
last
Back to
week.
Maine.
We
Well,
were
this
talking
is
about
this
how-
one is flown off the rails
Listen,
completely.
So
in
off the
7
rails.
days.
You guys, I was all about this guy like last week.
So
and
is
I was like,
Morris.
he's really
Every-
good looking and he's a
yeah.
Marine and he's a
I
progressive.
was with you.
And he's been endorsed by Bernie.
A week is a long time in politics.
week is a
Week
long
is so
time.
long in politics. But so Democratic primary U.S. Senate candidate in Maine, Graham Plattner, apparently joins the illustrious Pete Hegseth by having a Nazi chest tattoo that he's claiming didn't realize was a Nazi tattoo. So Graham and I are breaking up, and now we're going to end up with
A 77-year-old.
Yes, a 77-year-old lady. Listen, I was talking to one of our great producers over here before we got on the air, and I said, "Look, I wish I could go through life that clueless, to where I could just look at a tattoo and say, yeah, man, that looks cool.
This is why I
I'll
don't
just grab it.
have tattoos.
I don't either.
You don't have? Do you have any tattoos? No. Okay.
I'm fiscally pissed off.
Yeah, literally none of us on this podcast have tattoos. And I actually had this conversation with my children at the dinner table the other night. Did not know about Graham Plattner's tattoos at this point, but this is like fucking point number one.
Yeah.
We talked about like, do you guys think you'll ever get tattoos? And my daughter's like, no way, I would never do that. And my son, of course, is like, as soon as I turn 18, I'm just gonna like tattoo my entire body. And I was like, I'm not surprised as the kid who dyes his hair pink and purple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, like, what would you get? And he's like, probably dad, mom, sister. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Sounds
And he
cool when you're like 12,
But
but-
he said, I would never get a tattoo in a different language. He's like, because you don't know.
Unless you know that
Unless you
language.
know that language. Is like, that is very, very smart. And I was like, you could get skibbity toilet on your arms.
Did you, I mean, but it's like, it reminds me of like, remember back in the 2000s where all the girls got all the Chinese
Oh
character
yeah,
tattoos?
yeah.
like all the
Oh.
tramp stamps and everything.
Yeah, where it was like they say stuff like green cat toilet.
Exactly. like they think it says peace and whisper and calm, and it's like
No,
no.
and it says-
we getting Sanskrit tattooed on your white ass for. Knock it off.
It's like, why do you have oxtails tattooed on your collarbone?
Right.
Like,
No regrets.
yeah,
like
no
right
regret,
there.
no
No
regrets.
regrets.
Yeah, but the Graham Plattner thing is so disappointing because either answer to the question is like insufficient.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
Let's talk about the fact that it actually started with the Reddit posts.
Yes.
So it started with that.
What
were the
Reminder
Reddit
of-
posts?
The Reddit posts. So one of them, these are Reddit posts from like years ago, where he basically in one of them asked the question, "Why do black people not pay tips?" And he was working in
Because
a
we have
bar.
less money.
So anyway,
I tip, but that's an easy answer to that question. Duh.
So that was one of them. And the other one was basically about the armed forces. And he made comments about women in the armed forces when it was starting to come out, you know, the sexual harassment, the sexual assaults, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So he was basically questioning whether or not that kind of thing was real.
Oh my God.
So, and his response to that, so at this point, right, this is like 48 hours ago.
Yeah.
And his response to that was basically, hey, look, I was going through a tough time. I just returned from, I'd been in the armed forces, I was depressed, it was before I got married, blah, blah, all sorts of things. And at that point, everyone's like, okay, all right, we do live in a time. I'm going to put this out there.
Stupid shit.
We do stupid shit. Think about the stuff that I don't have this problem because when I was a teenager or in my early 20s, there was no social media, right?
Yeah.
So the shit that I've done is on some fucking brownie, Kodak, basically some Kodak camera
Right.
that no one will ever fucking
No one will
see,
ever get
right?
to it. Oh, listen, I am fully aware that if somebody was able to get to my old Tumblr, I'm in trouble.
Exactly.
Like,
So
Someone's
just
like Googling that right now.
Just a lot of topless people smoking weed. But it is what it is.
Right. So at that-
I admit this.
So at that point, it was kind of like everyone's like, oh, okay, all right, well, we'll set that aside. And he denied that tattoo at that point was a Nazi symbolism. He basically said, because I think the photo of it was from his brother's wedding or something.
Yeah, it was from years ago. It was clear he was much younger.
And he was running around in his boxer shorts, and that's how
Yeah.
they saw the tattoo.
Yeah.
So, and he's saying, no, that's not a Nazi tattoo. It's just a skull and cross, whatever.
And people were like, nah, bro, it's
Yeah.
absolutely a Nazi
So,
tattoo.
look, I think this has gone sideways. And fucking hell, Democrats, how do we not do any background on this guy? And we end up, we've got a 77-year-old Janet Mills, who's going to be the oldest freshman fucking senator. Can you
Ever.
imagine that? The oldest freshman senator.
When we literally have
in-
this issue.
in the United States. Can you imagine? That is not a badge of honor.
Well, we literally have this issue in both parties of like everybody's too old.
We've talked about this.
We've talked about
Yeah.
this at length, but what I meant to say about the tattoo and really honestly also the response to the Reddit post is I'm tired of I was too young. I'm tired of it. As I've said on this pod many times, just stand on it. You
Yes,
said
I got
Agree,
this
yeah.
tattoo. This happened. I apologize for. I'm getting it removed. How about
stand on it.
just advice as a person who works on campaigns? If you have any kind of questionable body art or anything, get it removed before you even fucking
Before you
announce.
run.
I know. That's the thing. What would you do? The minute you worked out what the fuck that was, you'd be down to the old
No, but
surgery
even
to
just
get
see,
that
the
removed.
thing is that he never had to think that hard about what it is,
Right.
And that's my point, Julie, is that there are different levels of social understanding that different types of people have to have, right? I cannot go to a random tattoo shop and look at these particular symbols and go, yeah, that one because it looks cool. No, I have to know that that is a Nazi symbol, or I have to know that that is a prejudice symbol because those are danger flags to me, right? Or danger flags to people I'm close to. So I have to know those things, but for a guy like Graham, he could just get the coolest thing he sees. He doesn't have to think about it. Until he ran for Senate,
Correct.
he did not have to think about this.
No, he
No
didn't.
doubt.
He
There
just
But-
thought
was
it
no
looked cool.
woman
It
who was
looks-
not going to date him because of this tattoo. There was no person who was going to stop being his friend because of this tattoo.
And you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
But you're running for fucking Senate.
Yeah.
Let's put a little bit of do a bit of background. We know that there's going to be background done either by the Democrats, your competitors in the primary, or by the fucking Republicans.
Oh,
so
man.
please just take a minute, people, just to fucking do a little bit of background. None of this stuff. Is
I mean, so from the
complicated.
Press Herald, which is the Portland Press Herald in Maine, the Democratic U.S. Senate candidate has come under fire recently for his now deleted social media posts about racism, sexual assault in the military, and police officers. It's like all that shit lives on beyond
a quick
you.
Google would get you any of that shit.
Reddit.
But also, you got to be comfortable with what you put out there. Like, it's one thing, again, like I said, I think if you're a certain age, if you're a elder millennial, Gen X, younger Gen X, whatever, like, you've said some questionable stuff online. Like, it is just, it's a fact, right? But you got to stand on it. So I think saying I was young is a way to sort of like hand wave it away. I think it would just be much more responsible to say, I didn't have all the information and I was questioning the information that I saw.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now that I have the information, I feel differently.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a responsible adult response to something like that.
Yeah.
You know, why do black people tip less? I don't know. I got some black friends now and I asked them and they told me.
He actually did say that. He actually did say
So
that.
that's a good
Funny,
one.
yeah. He
Yeah.
actually did say that.
So that's a good one.
So his
Like,
answers to that portion of it, well, they were reasonable. They were okay.
They're reasonable.
And that's why people were like, okay, we can live with this. But
Yeah.
the tattoo,
The
I think
tattoo
it's
The
just
part.
gone.
tattoo,
It's
yeah,
gone
and he's trying to
another.
say now too
Yeah.
that like the secret Nazi is the new like witch hunt in the United States.
No,
And
you
it's
can't do
like,
that one.
You
You can't say
can't-
that
You
one.
can't do that.
you
You're
can't
not
say that one. Not when
you're
actual
not
Nazis
standing
are
on
in the
it.
government.
Literally,
Like
actual
Operation
Nazis.
Paperclip never stopped.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. So okay, so if you guys were to get a tattoo, what would you get?
I don't believe in anything that much
You
to
don't
put it on
to
my
put
body for life.
permanently.
No,
I mean, I
never.
see everyone now has tattoos. Gage, do you have a tattoo? No, nope, no tattoos from Gage.
Look, you know what? I'm too fiscally responsible. I couldn't be bothered with that sort of shit. I also don't like pain, but also on top of that, if I was to get like a little ladybird or something like that, it would turn into a fucking alligator because your body changes that much. Who wants to put a piece like that? That's ridiculous. Sorry, I ain't interested.
I don't have children, so maybe if I did, it would be something about like my children. But even then, like they could be assholes when they grow up. So
Right.
No,
I don't believe
Right.
in that either. Like I don't have tattoos. Neither one of my parents have tattoos.
Yeah.
My younger sister doesn't. My one brother has one tattoo. Like I just don't have.
I'm
them a lot in my
superstitious
family.
about that shit. And I like also the permanence of it.
Yeah.
It's just too much. It's like, I'm going to change my mind. I'm not going to like how it turned out. It's not going to be spelled correctly. Like, there's going to be something wrong with the kerning. I don't know. But I'm superstitious about that shit because my ex husband got this massive half sleeve done when we were married.
With your name?
He put a symbol of me on there.
Uh-oh.
Big giant sunflower to like for me, like right in the middle. I don't think my ex-husband listens to our podcast, but like he got this the tattoo is beautiful. And of course he got it and I was like, why did you do that? Like that's bad luck. And now we're
And
divorced.
clearly it was.
like I look at that sometimes and I'm
Emphasizing
like,
X.
we got divorced and you got
Yeah.
this
Oh my
amazing
God.
tattoo. And I mean, he's got the tattoo, I guess, to remember me by. But
Nah, I think y'all, if you are thinking about running for public office, if you're thinking even really about having something front facing, just think
Examine.
about the tattoos.
yeah, take off the
Examine.
especially if the tattoos are like written in another language. Like, get that shit removed, man.
And also like symbols of death,
oh yeah,
like skulls and kind of
What-
stuff like that. Just think twice. is
maybe
all
have a
it is.
couple people take a look at them.
not to be respectability politics, but like just if it's like a picture of your baby, like
Right.
that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, I do think I appreciate the art in tattoos. I have to say
Yes,
that when I
yes,
see them
beautiful.
on people, really well done tattoos, I actually really appreciate it. They're just not for me. That's all.
yeah, and I would never poo-poo people's tattoos and what
No.
they want to do with their body, their choice, right? But it's definitely not for me. But I would say if you did some questionable shit with your body in the '90s. Before you decide to run, maybe have some people take a look at it, get a second opinion.
Yeah, dog. And also like if it looks fascist, vaguely
looks like a
fascist,
duck.
if it look like a duck and quack like a duck, it might be a duck, dog.
Right.
Like
Just get a second opinion.
just get a second opinion on that.
or get it. You could always get it covered up with something else.
That one would be
too.
a little tough.
I mean, well, the one he has,
The
yeah,
one he
it's
has would be a
literally
little
like
tough to
super
cover it.
black.
I've
ink.
seen
Yeah.
I've seen them do the work in that. There was a TV show which was based in Las Vegas where he would go in and fix tattoos. Anyway, this
Oh.
is years and years ago. It was,
He could have turned it into like a. Oh no, you can't do that. I was about to say he could turn it into like a black sun, but that means something else.
Oh,
That is
Jesus,
oh
we're
my
just
god! Some
going
of these
down.
icons, I don't even know what the
Yeah,
like
that
the
means
symbolism
that
for
means
them.
something else. But
That's crazy.
Either way, be careful when you get your tattoos, and
Yeah. Tell us in the comments, what are your tattoos? What do you regret the most
Yeah,
about your
I
tattoos?
want to know if anybody has like a really regretful tattoo.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah.
We'll share it on the pod. I think that's
Yeah.
a really good idea. Awesome. Well, okay, it's been another week here in paradise. I can't wait to hear from you guys next week, right before Halloween. I'm sure it's going to get even fucking weirder.
I
And
hope it does.
I would just like to
in
say
terms of Halloween.
to my dad, who might be listening out there, I did not swear as much today. I just want to call that out.
No, we were really well behaved.
I feel like we were
today.
very well behaved.
We should have swore more.
I
It's
know.
because it's because nobody, has. I don't know. It just
We're
this was an
beyond
exasperating week
We're
in
just
terms
beyond.
of stuff.
The energy levels are low, I have to say.
and it's also finally gotten cold
It
in
is
Michigan.
cold. We're all
fucking
wearing
freezing.
sweaters.
So,
we have a
yeah.
heater. Like we have a heater on in here. Don't tell our
Yeah,
building.
but anyway,
Well,
bye-bye.
that's it. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share with your parents' friends, with your own friends, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Bye.
Bye. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.